Hey, what's going on guys? Chad here with Greenlight Shooting and welcome to this new video. So today we're going to be doing a review on the High Threat Concealment holster. They also go by HTC holster. So this one was made for my Glock 19. As you can tell, it fits very nicely. I've been wearing this holster for the last couple weeks, just kind of testing it out. But before we get into my pros and cons, let's just go over kind of what the holster is, what sets it apart, a little bit about the company, kind of the unboxing, and what you can expect to get if you were to order one. First, a little overview about the company. Speaking with their rep, I found out that High Threat Concealment was designed by a couple guys that were over in Afghanistan, and their gear just wasn't meeting their needs when they would go on missions and stuff. So they decided to start their own thing. So this is truly kind of that for professionals by professionals mentality. They made it very clear that they have been servicing like government agencies and stuff like that, and they're just now trying to take their holsters to the public. He said because they've only been selling to government agencies and stuff like that, they never really put too much time or thought into presentation and marketing and stuff like that. They said they spend less time worrying about presentation and more time worrying about retention and just the quality of the holster itself. So when you first get the holster in the mail, here's what it looks like. It comes in just kind of a big clear plastic bag. You undo the plastic bag and you have the holster itself, a big bag of loose hardware, an advertisement for their quick draw lubricant for the holster, an HTC sticker, and a brochure. So High Threat Concealment, on the inside it just shows kind of all their other products. A little underwhelmed in terms of how it comes, but you can look past that if the holster is great. One thing I do want to mention though is the lack of instructions. And not that holsters really require instructions, but when you're handed just a completely blank holster shell like this with a big bag of hardware, it's kind of helpful to at least have some guidelines. You know, if there's different ways to set it up for appendix carry, for 4 o'clock carry, for lower back, for outside the pant, inside the pant, you know, it'd be nice to at least know the proper way to set those things up using this hardware. And I understand this is a by professionals for professionals kind of thing, so if you're a professional, then you should know how to put these things together. But if they're starting to sell to the public, so the first thing I wanted to do with this holster was set it up for inside the pant carry, like that 4 o'clock where I always carry. So if you can see on the holster, there's a hole here, there's kind of a slanted hole here, and then 4 holes on this side and 7 holes on this side, 2 holes at the bottom, and then a tension screw. After looking through the hardware, I found this little inventory slip here. After looking through all those, I was trying to figure out the best way to put this thing together, you know, so there's things like this, and I wasn't really sure what was what, to be honest. I ended up realizing this is probably the belt loop, because if you hold it right here, it looks an awful lot like a single clip inside the waistband holster. I was trying to figure out the best way to secure them, because if you just take a screw through the top of this and then like a binding post, there's no friction for the binding post, so it just sits there and spins on the other side. So I took a rubber washer on top of that binding post and I took it from inside the holster up through the hole and then put this on top and screwed that in. So I don't know if that's the best way to do it, I don't know if that's the right way to do it, but it did seem to work. As for these closed belt loops, I'm assuming you can just throw these on the outside. There's a hole at the bottom as well as, you know, kind of, I guess, in like an adjustable hole. I don't know. So I think either maybe you can ride the gun down low or maybe ride it up higher. And I assume you can do inside the waistband or outside the waistband with one of these. But to be honest, I'm not really sure. Again, it would be great to see some instructions or some video guidelines, anything to know how to set this holster up best for your different types of desired carry. So I was just trying to reinstall this thing and I grabbed the wrong size screw, I think, from the hardware pile. I think I grabbed the longer one or something, and I think it's stuck in there now. Got it. So eventually I did get it figured out and I have been carrying it like I said. So this is how I've been carrying it. So I've been carrying it just kind of right behind my hip at about 4 or 5 o'clock, and it does work pretty decent. So I don't want it to seem like everything is all bad with this holster. It is a good holster. Let's talk about some pros and cons here. First, let's start with some pros. So this thing is resilient. This thing is durable. You can really tell. I mean, this thing is it just feels like super, super hard Kydex, and it's actually not Kydex. The rep was telling me that these guys actually use Boltaron? Boltaron? I don't know exactly how to pronounce it, but it's essentially just a harder, more resilient version of Kydex. It's a lot more resilient to chemicals, to heat, cold, stuff like that. So out in the elements, this thing is just a beast, man. The rep was telling me that a lot of companies don't use Boltaron. By the way, if you can hear that like squeaking, that's just my dog playing with his toy. The rep was telling me that not a lot of companies use Boltaron because apparently it's a lot harder to work with than Kydex, but like I was saying, it's a lot more resilient and more durable. So these guys definitely wanted to use it after their time in Afghanistan. This thing is a rock, man. It's not heavy though. It is really light. It's just super rigid. The second pro I want to talk about is how just like perfectly this does fit the gun. So the rep was telling me that they don't use blue guns in their facility. They mold it after the true guns. So there's no wasted space, no extra material, anything like that. And as you can tell, so for this one is the Glock 19. That is very, very true. This is a very, very tight, solid fit. And I mean, the mold itself, it just looks like the gun continues, you know? It's very, very form-fitting, which is nice. It keeps everything low profile. You don't have anything big and bulky riding around on your waist. So now let's get into the cons with this. The cons I experienced was, one, with it being so rigid and just, you know, rock solid, there's no flex in it, period. So if this is riding on your body, it's not gonna flex and move with you. So it's not super comfortable. You know, if you sit down, it's not gonna mold to you whatsoever. If you bend over, if you're running, if anything, I mean, where the gun is sitting on your body is where the gun is gonna stay on your body. In some situations, that's a great thing. In other situations, it's just uncomfortable. So as far as comfort on this thing, I wouldn't say that it's uncomfortable, but I wouldn't say it's comfortable either. Another thing that kind of comes along with that rigidity is when the gun is sitting in here and it's up against your body, this grip tends to stick out a little bit because since there's no flex in the holster, period, it can't wrap around your body much at all. So this thing just kind of sticks straight out of your body. So I honestly was a little worried. I was a little more worried about printing than usual. The next thing I want to touch on is the draw and the ease of draw. So when you first get it, this tension screw is locked down pretty tight. And I mean, that's okay, but it really, really takes some force to get this thing out of there. Maybe you just need more of that lubricant they're trying to sell it, but in any case, you really do have to pull this thing. Not a big deal normally, you've got this tension screw. If I loosen this tension screw just a little bit, it does get much easier to pull out, but what happens is, you can't really tell, but this screw, you hear that? It's loose. It's, you know, it kind of worries me that it's gonna fall out. In order to get it to the point where it's a clean draw for me every time, I've got to have that thing pretty loose. It's not bad. I mean, it takes some tinkering. You can get it to a point where it's not loose and it's not a terrible draw. But I mean, you can just hear it. It sounds very tight in there. Like I said, I guess that can be a good thing, you know, if you're gonna be running with this thing on or you're gonna be moving around heavily, you want a lot of retention. So that's a good thing. But for me, it's just a little too much retention. It hinders my draw. And my last con is still kind of goes back to that presentation thing. So I haven't mentioned price yet. Price on this holster with all of the accessories that you saw is $115. So that's a pretty steep price tag, and you don't feel like you're getting a $115 product when you receive it in that plastic bag. I get if you're just servicing LEO or government agencies or something, that doesn't matter. But if you are servicing the end user and you're trying to break into that market, I would urge you to put more thought into your marketing, your presentation, and your user friendliness. The thing that kind of bothers me about what comes with the holster is you get a big brochure trying to sell you more of their other products. You get a small brochure about their lubricant, trying to sell you their lubricant. You get one of their stickers with their big logo on it. I kind of feel like it's all about them. I know that's kind of weird and maybe I'm reading too much into it, but you see a lot of other companies out there with a thank you note. Thank you for purchasing. If you have any questions, contact us here. For more information, check out our website, watch our how-to videos, stuff like that, like things that are there to help the end user rather than sell them more stuff. Things that are thanking them for being a part of their customer base and their family. Those are the kinds of things that are going to keep me as a loyal customer rather than you pushing more of your products on me. So there you have it. There is my review on the High Threat Concealment Glock Evo holster. I didn't mention, by the way, this thing is designed to work both outside the waistband, inside the waistband, and appendix in the waistband. It's a fine holster. It's really not a bad holster. I feel like I've said a lot of negative things about it. It's a good holster. It's very, very good quality. I think if you're someone who is kind of carrying really consistently in extreme weather conditions or anything like that, if you're carrying for duty reasons, anything like that, this would probably be a great holster for you. You can just feel how durable that thing is. However, if you're just kind of an average shooter like me, if you know, you just want to carry an everyday carry with you most of the time, you know, you go on a date, you're going to dinner, at a movie, the mall or something, and you just want to have your everyday carry with you, I wouldn't say that it's the best choice. You know, it's fairly expensive at $115, and it's not super comfortable. It's not something that I'd want to carry with me all the time. It's kind of rigid. Like I said, it doesn't really flex with you at all throughout the day. Because of the lack of user friendliness and comfort, it wouldn't be my first choice as a holster, you know? So the question is, am I gonna keep using this thing? Probably not. I think I'll use it as a backup holster if I'm ever going to the range and we're shooting outdoors and we've got dust flying up everywhere and it's a windy day or something like that, we're out in the desert. But is it gonna be my everyday go-to holster? Unfortunately not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or comments or anything about the holster, definitely leave them down in the comments below. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say. I'd be interested to hear what holsters you guys are carrying. What's your favorite? Definitely leave them down in the comments below. If you want to know more about the High Threat Concealment as a company, as their other products, as this holster specifically, check out the video description, as I do have all their links posted there. So yeah, if you guys have found this video useful, please hit that thumbs up button. That helps me a bunch. Share this video if you think someone else could benefit from it. Subscribe to the channel. We've got more reviews coming every single week. And check out these other 2 videos if you haven't seen them. Thanks so much for watching.
We're gonna punt him, then we're gonna shoot him. We're gonna race to see who does it first.